I'm starting to think people don't hate Trump. They hate the idea of being wrong publicly.
And you said that you voted for Kamala Harris.
Yes.
And that you regretted it.
Yeah. I know that Joe Biden should have been stepped away, and it was delayed because these people wanted Kamala to be the candidate, and there was no way in hell it was going to happen unless he left when he left, as opposed to earlier where there could have been a primary. She would have had to compete against people
Correct.
in order that, right? So I know all of that. But I also believed that she was the kind of person that if the power existed in one house of Congress, if not both, that she was somebody that you could get to acquiesce and work across the aisle in order to get things done. That was my belief. And then when I saw how things were unfolding and how out in the clouds the Democratic Party was even after they lost the election, I said, this is no hope. I said, I don't know what the hell I was thinking about believing that y'all would get it, because you still don't get it. You really, really don't. Trump, you bring up the indictments, you bring up his behavior, you bring up all of these different things, and America still said he's more normal than y'all. And you still don't get it. And I thought you'd get it, but you didn't get it. So I lost all faith.
Yeah, they choose not to get it. That right there, that's a grown man, Stephen A. Smith, fighting with his Democratic self side. You know what I'm saying? In real time. He's fighting with that side of him right now. You know, I was wrong. It sounds simple until you realize how expensive that sentence actually is. It's pretty taxing for him, right? Because now it's not just you made a mistake. It's every argument you had, every person you've debated, every time you stood 10 toes on it, all of that got to come back and look at you. Most people, they'd rather double down and look crazy than admit it and look human, rather. And what makes it even worse, half the time, people don't even know why they believe what they believe. It's pretty daunting, if I'm being honest. They just know it sounds good when everybody else says it.
But then I realized in 2020, when they were doing this whole control thing, they really started with a huge divisive plan, okay? And part of that divisive plan is to divide Black American people. And how are they going to divide these people? Using celebrities. I told you these celebrities are puppets. This whole chilly back and forth with the T-Boss thing, it could be theater for all we know. Just a reason for us to go at each other. How do we even know that any of this is even real? But even if it was, we've come to a time in society where somebody's personal beliefs and their personal political views have now caused you, Black America, to say, I don't want you around me because you don't think exactly the way that I think. That is extremely dangerous. One of the worst things we could do as a community, and anybody who promotes that isn't. But then I realized
is wrong. I'll finish it for you. You know, it's incompetent. Isn't thinking clearly. Critical thinking skills is should be in question. Anywho, I ain't even mad at celebrities, you know? They're doing their job, right? But the real question is, why y'all taking life advice from somebody who got asked permission to tweet? I mean, think about it. You're arguing with your cousin, losing friends, blocking people over opinions that came from somebody who got a PR team, a manager, and a brand deal all on the line for him. Ooh. I'm just saying, man, it's like, ooh. Sorry, y'all. I over here itching. But that's like getting your story from a script. A story. I meant to say morals. I can't even, whatever. Getting your morals from a script. My words together. You know, that's like, I don't know, man. It's just annoying. And of course, it's gonna sound polished. It ain't real. Now, the moment you step outside the script, I want you to watch how fast you get renamed. Now, this is a lengthy one, so prepare yourself.
This one is about to hurt some of y'all feelings, but the shit needs to be said because I'm honestly getting sick of it. So, I'm scrolling and I see it again. Chili from TLC being called the sellout for donating to Trump. Nick Cannon getting called the sellout because of what he said about Democrats. And then we got black ICE agents getting called sellouts for doing their job. And every time I see that word sellout, I'm not even looking at the people that's being accused anymore. I'm looking at the person that's making the accusation. You see, that word sellout is a confession. You're not exposing the people that's being accused. You're exposing how you think. Because think about the word that you chose. Sellout. That word only makes sense if you believe somebody was owned and then sold. So let's slow it down since people love throwing around words they don't understand. Who owned them? Who bought them? What was the price? Was Chili sold for a donation? Was Nick Cannon sold for his opinion? Were black ICE agents sold for a paycheck? Or, and here's an uncomfortable truth, maybe it was you just couldn't handle the fact that they made a choice without running it past you first. So instead of saying you disagree like a normal person, you decided to reach for a word that's rooted in ownership. Because deep down, some of y'all don't believe in independence. You believe in assignment. A lot of you believe that black people are assigned to think a certain way, vote a certain way, to live within this narrow approved version of blackness that only you co-sign. But the minute somebody steps outside of that assignment, a lot of y'all brains start to short circuit. So you won't debate their ideas at all. You don't even try to reason with them. You don't even question your own goofy ass assumptions. You just shout, sellout. You know, almost like it's a spell that's supposed to bring them back in line. And I'm here to tell you right now, that's not intelligence. That's called conditioning. Hell, let me make it even more plain for you. You're literally using the language of slavery to attack other black people for exercising their freedom. Let that sit with your spirit real quick. You're literally calling free choices evidence of being owned. That's how backwards this is to me. That's like watching somebody walk off a plantation and saying, nah, you must have been bought by another master. What the fuck? You know, it's like it almost never crosses your mind that maybe, just maybe, that black man or black woman belong to their damn self and not you. And that's the part that bothers some of y'all. Because if they belong to their damn self, that means you don't get a say-so over their damn life. And some of y'all, for some reason, can't seem to fucking handle that. So what do you do instead? You build this invisible rule book. You know, this unwritten constitution of acceptable blackness. And it always goes something like this. You can be black as long as you think like me. Yeah, you can be black as long as you vote like me. You can be black as long as you never step outside the lines that I drew. But the moment they do, now you're not just wrong, apparently, according to these people, you're now sold. I mean, do y'all hear how fucking insane that sounds? You're literally turning a simple disagreement into ownership. Turning independence into a betrayal and then turning free will into a crime. And the part that really pisses me off is how some of y'all want to sit there and call it protecting the community. No, you're protecting your fucking comfort. Say it out loud. You protecting that echo chamber that you live in. You protecting your distorted worldview that falls apart the second people start thinking for themselves. And I'm honestly getting tired of black people doing that stupid shit. Because here's the reality that y'all don't want to face. Chili didn't sell anybody out. She made a choice. Nick Cannon, he didn't sell out either. He was simply speaking his mind like everybody else does. And those black ICE agents, they didn't sell you out either. They just chose a profession. There was no transaction that took place. The only thing that happened was them exercising their autonomy. And by them exercising that autonomy, it exposes the control issues that a lot of you have. And that's why it irritates you. Because every time a black person moves freely, it reminds you that your rules aren't universal. They just preferences you try to enforce on everybody else. So instead of confronting that, you want to reach for that same tired ass label, sellout, which don't mean a damn thing anymore. That word don't hit like y'all think it does now, because y'all done bastardized the hell out of it. It's not exposing them, it's exposing you. Because you can't call somebody sold unless you believe somebody already owned them. And my thing is this: if that's how you see other black people, not as individuals, not as thinkers or free human beings, but as something that can be bought, controlled, and reassigned, all based on their behavior, well, I'm sorry to tell you this, but congratulations. You didn't break the plantation logic. You modernized it. That's the issue with our people today. It ain't about MAGA hats. It ain't even about supporting Trump at this point. A lot of y'all truly think it's your job to police another black person's choices, even when they're not harming you or violating any of your rights. And that is exactly where the fucking conflict rests in the black community. You don't own other black people. Hell, most of you don't own a damn thing, so you walk around acting like you own other black people. And that's the problem with a lot of you. You don't know how to stay in your own fucking lane and let other people do their own thing. Y'all seriously need to grow the fuck up and let that goofy ass mindset go. You don't own other black people. Period. But leave a like, leave a comment, and I'll catch you on the next video. I'm sick of this shit from y'all. Fix it.
He said fix it like he was our dad. No, but sellout, it is hilarious. Not because it's funny, but because it gets used one way. I'm telling you, every time you step outside the script, you see how fast you get renamed? Nobody calls you a sellout when you agree with the crowd. Only when you freestyle a thought. Literally. So it's not about betrayal. It's about control. It's about school. You ain't getting in trouble for being wrong. You get in trouble for not copying the answer sheet. Now, this last clip, this is where the arguments start. Well, this is the one that starts arguments in group chats, rather.
One thing is for sure. Two things is for certain. President Trump has done more for black people than any other president. I don't care what nobody say. What president do you know will go out their way to make sure that black people feel safe in their neighborhoods? I'll wait. Everything that President Trump is doing is something that we expected President Barack Obama to do. But Barack Obama didn't do that. President Trump is doing the shaking here in America. Something that we expected a black president to do. Folks are feeling safe in their neighborhoods, man. Safe. And it really does concern me. The amount of black people who are upset for giving credit where credit is due. Y'all upset because this man made a decision to clean up the streets. When the ones who are complaining about it, they didn't do nothing about it. I didn't see y'all going to your local governments and yelling and screaming and hollering at the government officials while crime was going on. I'm even guilty of it. I didn't scream and shout neither. So who are we to get upset for people feeling safe in their neighborhoods? Everyone deserves to feel safe. And for anyone that thinks differently and want to call folks, say that we're whitewash and all these things or whatever, you call us on the real, you're an op. You're an op. And that's way worse than if you're a sellout. You talk about us being a sellout? No, you're a sellout. Because you'd rather see your people suffer versus us thriving and doing well and living well and feeling safe in our own neighborhoods.
Now, here's the funny part. People hear that and instantly go, ah, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Not because, they checked it, but because they already know they're supposed to disagree. That's muscle memory right there, guys. I ain't even thinking anymore. It's just pure TDS reaction. And once you realize how many of your opinions are just reactions, man, you start sounding your own brain. Some people think for themselves. Some people just remix what they were told. Figure out which one that you're doing. If you made it to the end of this video, I want you to write remix. Yeah, we're going to write that word. Y'all be safe. Go check on somebody today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.